guys, Sandra here from Create in Spain. Now today I'm trying a different format of video. So today I'm going to do something a little different. I'm going to show you the finished card, I'm going to show you what I used to actually do it, and I'm going to assume that you know something about card making. Right, so this is the one that I'm doing today. I have a couple of brads on the front with one of these tiny little elastic bands to close it. I think these were for making some kind of children's bracelet-y type things, but they're tiny little elastic bands. So you open this one up and you have another layer there, and lo and behold, you get a surprise pop-up. So yeah, it's a fun card. And if I show you a closer view, there we go. Now, in order to do this, you need a pop-up mechanism. But apart from that, the rest of the card is pretty much straightforward, and I will link the file below for you. The card is made in different pieces. If I turn it over, you can see that I have the main back, and then I have side panels, and I have the base panel. Now, when I put this together, I didn't actually put it together in quite the way that I should have. What you should do is put the base panel on first and then put the side panels over the top. This one is the most important panel. These two can be adjusted slightly if at the end of the day they need to be adjusted. It will adjust over the thickness of that base, and you need that base to be folded over first. So that is one thing I would recommend. The other thing that I would recommend is that you decorate the outside of the card first. Oops, just got gone. You decorate the outside of the card first with any decorative panels that you want to do. And you do that because if you get it round the wrong way when it is completed, that's going to be a pain in the neck. So get it done before you do the rest of it, and you know that it's in the right direction, particularly if you're using a one-way paper like I did here. So inside, fairly standard decoration. I really need to stop that catching on there. Fairly standard decorative panels, they're just offsets, which is fine, and I've added a few cutouts as well. Now, the other thing that I would say about the panel is that if you're going to use brads to close these, you want to put the brad on top of this one, put it through to the back, and then put your decorative panel on the inside afterwards. Otherwise your brads are going to show and you'll have to cover them up. So that's the main thing. So for the inside panel for this, all the decorative bits, you need a mechanism. And the mechanism I have is this one here. And so you can pretend, actually I'll fold that back, that this is just a narrow section. And if you look sideways, you can see that when this is shut, it folds flat, and then it will spring up. It can get a little bit caught, but you know, it will fold flat. Now, I didn't start off with this particular design. I started off with something a little different, but I've modified it to work better for larger designs on the inside. Because when I made this back design quite heavy. It's got quite a few pieces on it. They're large pieces, but I still wanted that as my focal point. The previous mechanism that I used wasn't quite sturdy enough. It was a bit wobbly on the inside. So I've adjusted it to make it sturdier on the inside so it can cope. Now the piece for this mechanism is all one piece. There's nothing else to be added, as long as, and this is the proviso, you need to cut it out of a good sturdy cardstock. If you don't cut it out of a good sturdy cardstock, you will need to cut, there's a little section here in the file, you'll need to cut one of those and place it on there to reinforce it. But if it's a strong enough cardstock, you shouldn't have a problem. So I've put in all the various folds in the file. There are only two valley folds in this. The first one is this one here right at the top, and the second one is just below the notches here. So that is a valley. Everything else is a mountain fold, so it folds over rather than under. So what you do first of all is you turn it over, you apply some glue, and you fold these pieces over because these are just reinforcements. That's all they are there for. They are there to strengthen. Do not cut them off, because if you do, the chances are your mechanism won't work. It won't be stiff enough to work. So, round the correct way, and you can take all this bit, including what looks like a big square on the bottom, up through that large center hole until you get to the tabs. Now these are going to interlock, so you get one lot in, and the other one you'll just have to sort of wiggle it a bit to get it through. Now this is where it comes in handy having a decent cardstock. If it's too thin, you'll probably break it. And then you have the actual mechanism. Now this piece you can fold over and leave loose if you want to. You don't have to glue it down, but you can put glue on the back of this piece here. You can put some glue and you can actually stick it together like that if you want to. You don't have to. You might want to wait until you decide what design you're doing on the inside that's going to attach to that before doing that. You can cut it down if you want to. You can cut that piece off if you really don't need it, but it's there, and it's much better to have it cut out ready and adjacent to everything else and joined to it and all the rest than it is to cut it out in separate pieces and then try and get it lined up afterwards. It's just easier. So when it comes to putting this in the card, you'll see from the side-on view that you have basically a concertina. So if you hold this piece and you hold this one, they will concertina up like that. And then you simply fold the rest of it flat like that. And this is how you put it into the card. Now you turn it over and you'll notice that this only has one leg. Well, don't worry, it doesn't need to. This is actually superfluous to requirements when it comes to sticking it onto your card, but it is a guide as to where it needs to go. For example, if I take this piece of card here, let's flatten this one down, and I have a fold here, I would put glue all the way over this bit, put it up to the fold wherever it is I wanted it, make sure that it is nicely lined up, and then stick it down. So this decides how far from the center fold the rest of it is, and that is important because it makes everything line up properly. But you don't need two of them. As long as you're capable of making sure that this is parallel to the center fold, you don't have a problem at all. So that's the way to do it. Regards the rest of it, the only other place you need to put any glue is the last centimetre on the right hand side here. Let me just get a pen. So for the last centimetre you will put glue there and you will put glue there. You hold it in place. This is already stuck down by now, and then, assuming your card is big enough, which obviously this isn't, that will stick onto there. Now you need to make sure all this is stuck down really, really well before you open it. So either put a heavy weight on it, or hold it in place, or do whatever else you have to do to make sure your glue is properly sticking. And then when you open it up, it will do that. So the front of this can be made to hold anything you like. It could be a vase, it could be a box, it could be a bucket, it could be a pot plant holder, could be a teapot. Whatever you want to put on the front of that is up to you. All you need to do is to make sure that it is going to cover that design up so you don't see the working mechanism. Other than that, you can put what you want on, whatever you feel like. I thought rather a nice idea actually would be to have one of these old-fashioned metal dustbins, trash cans as you call them in the States, rather along the lines of Top Cat many years ago. Yes, I'm showing my age. I used to love Top Cat. And maybe have a cat appearing out of the dustbin. I just thought that would be a fun idea. So that would be your outside image, and then the pieces that you put on here will just stick onto this piece and they will pop up when the card is opened. Now obviously you need to experiment a little depending on your design as to where it goes on here, but obviously if the card is open, this is going to be its open position. Whatever you can see in that position is what you will see when the card is opened, and if the card is closed you won't see certain things. Anything that is above there risks being shown, but you've got about a centimetre clearance, so you can have something about up to there and it will still be hidden, but anything over that you'll be able to see. So that is how the mechanism is done. Very easy to do, and as I say, it's all in one piece. So this is designed for people who have electronic cutters. If you don't have an electronic cutter, it doesn't stop you from doing it, but you'd have to print it out on your card and cut it out by hand. Other than that, you can do it quite easily. Okay, so that's this particular card. I hope you like it, and it's given you some ideas for decoration. All these items will be in the file below, so if you want to do one like this, you'll be able to do it. But other than that, just use your imagination and go for it. I'd love to know what you create. Take care now. Bye-bye.